Okay, not sure what that's going to do for the stream. When you start the stream early, then close it straight away. I'm not sure if it's going to pick up from the initial part of the second stream or if it's going to be one continuous stream. I'm not actually sure. I have excellent connection at the moment. That's very good to know. Just in case later on I want to run some sort of validator from an area similar to this. Now I've decided to migrate to fall under no longer Australian jurisdiction but Antarctica, because there's no tax. Now obviously I'm kidding, but seriously, look into that. That's pretty trippy. I never thought about that in regards to taxation laws worldwide. Now, on a serious note, we'll go back to the token mapping. This will be a quick one. I'm still working on the response. The best way is going back over what was covered yesterday. Basically, we have these questions here, consultation questions. Here is my proposal so far. Whether or not it's listened to, I don't know. But some jurisdictions have implemented regulatory frameworks that address the marketing and promotion of products within crypto ecosystem, including network tokens and public smart contracts. Would a similar solution be suitable for Australia? If so, how might this be implemented? Now, remember that series. You might not be familiar with the series. I'm not sure everyone probably knows what the series is, but Suits and other guys are able to recollect perfectly and cite, countless of law textbooks, assuming that he actually read them. Now that would be, I guess, part of the problem for him. He would have to actually read them first. Now we don't have that problem with AI. We can actually feed it all the textbooks we want and ask it about questions, but we do have to keep in mind how we word it and how we ask the question. And it does help, obviously, as I said before, if you understand what you're saying without ChatGPT, then you look at it. If it still makes sense, it's probably a very useful study tool. Now, so I replied with the help of my friend ChatGPT, the implementation of additional regulations in the market and promotion of crypto products may hinder innovation in the field. Regulations can add barriers to entry, which can restrict the growth of new and innovative ideas and technologies. In addition, the crypto industry is constantly evolving, and it may be challenging for regulators to keep up with the pace of change. Therefore, it is crucial to strike a balance between protecting consumers and fostering innovation within the industry. Education about different products and their risks and benefits can be more beneficial in promoting responsible practices and reducing the risk of scams or exploitation. Again, focusing in on that, I found my responses sometimes were off topic or weren't as relevant, so it's always good just to run it through the good old AI. Now, number 12. Here, smart contracts are commonly developed as free open source software. They are often published and republished by entities other than their original authors. First question. What are the regulatory and policy levers available to encourage the development of smart contracts that comply with existing regulatory frameworks? What I put, this is close to my final answer. Again, as you can see, it's not overly large, but as a whole, I've probably got about 5 to 6 pages, pushing, depending on how much of the intro I include about myself, which I've already provided to, I think when they were looking at new tax laws, or tax treatment of digital assets, I think it was another submission that I put forward to the, not sure which body it was at that point in time, but I'll double check. So I'll just move around here. Is it streaming? I think it is. All right, cool. Now, question 12A. My response. Smart contracts are subject to existing regulations such as the AUSTRAC AML-CTF Act, ATO Income Act, and the Goods and Services Act. Before fiat can enter the crypto system, the regulations provide sufficient oversight and guidance for the crypto system, and all data related to smart contracts is recorded on the blockchain for transparency and accountability. Further regulation may stifle innovation and harm the competitiveness of the crypto system in the global market. not just Australia. Section B, what is the regulatory and policy levers available to ensure smart contract applications comply with existing regulatory frameworks? The existing regulations such as AUSTRAC, AML, CTF, AC Act, ATO Income Act, and Goods and Services Tax Act provide sufficient oversight and guidance for the operation of smart contract applications. The data recorded on the blockchain is publicly accessible and transparent, adding a level of accountability. Adding additional regulatory may stifle innovation and detract from the competitive advantage of the crypto system. Again, very similar answer. If they're asking for more levers available, I'm honestly not sure what more they could want. Now, without severely, stifling innovation. Question 13. Some smart contract applications assist users to connect to smart contracts that implement a pawnbroker style of collateralized lending, i.e. only recourse in the event of default is the collateral. Again, no idea why they're comparing smart contracts at this point to pawnbroker style of collateralized lending. It did cross my mind that maybe they're trying to somehow apply regulation to smart contracts, which in one tiny instance may align with a conventional pawnbroking lending business, but I'm not aware of any. Maybe they are, but then to apply that a large broad regulation for a very small smart contract that may or may not exist seems very odd. I'm not sure that's a very, not a wise strategy, not a wise path to go down. That is why I responded as such. Understanding well-written immutable code is important, as that is one risk when engaging with smart contracts, because they're asking about the risk and differences, not, my tangents that I go on. Hence my emphasis on teaching versus more regulation. What if a conventional pawnbroker business goes bankrupt? Can you demand payment from the bankrupt? No. From the bankrupt. C could probably be the word bankrupt. T in there. Now, no. Full stop. It would be best to ensure you have researched and decided as an individual to pick a reputable conventional pawnbroker lending business so as to hopefully mitigate some of that risk. Now, I guess I put that there because you see like some random pawnbroker rock up and you're like, oh, here's my like gazillion dollar watch. I'll give this to you, and if can I have $2 gazillion? They go, yeah, sure. Interest rate at like 20%. Just sign over that. This watch is now mine. Now, this is a bad example because I'm like, as I'm saying, I'm going, hang on, and then so you then get the money. You have to pay it back, but then you don't pay it back because you probably wouldn't get $2 gazillion. Maybe you get $1.2 gazillion. Then you get the 1.2 gazillion at a huge interest rate. You begin paying back. Okay, here's a good example. You begin paying back the interest rate as required, and then the people disappear with your watch, and the business goes bankrupt. What can you do? Why would you have gone with such a shonky little dodgy pawnbroker? Wouldn't you have at least tried to find a more reputable one that has like multiple chains that have been in business for how many years? And even then there's a risk, that is my point there. And it's very strange to compare smart contracts with pawnbroker lending. Now, so it was tricky because I did wonder why they were asking that particular question. Was there any reason? And then I had to look into it further. Basically, that what's it called? Basically that there was actually existing. Where is it? Yeah, I had to go to ChatGPT, ask it about various acts. It goes on to explain this in the next section, next question. But I just thought I'd pull this up for now, basically saying under the creditor quick guide, bankruptcy and unsecured debt, because that's what I thought was interesting. Under the Australian government, Australian Financial Security Authority, AFSA, basically had, where is it? Payday, payday lending, and it says, can I continue to demand payment from the bankrupt? So, no. There you go. Claims lodged in bankrupt estates will be considered by the trustee. Again, though, that could be type of debt, personal loan. I might have. I have to double check this one. Now, dog's going nutty. All right, doggies have stopped. I did just check briefly because I want to make sure I'm somewhat right in a very simple term, but basically says, let's have a look. So I think I just might have jumped to conclusions there when it says, can you demand payment from the bankruptcy? He says here, in Australia, if a payday loan goes bankrupt, the situation would be handled through the bankruptcy process governed by the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, so this is ASIC. During this process, the assets of the business would be sold and the proceeds would be used to repay creditors, including the payday loan borrowers, in accordance with the priorities set out in the Bankruptcy Act 1966. However, it is important to note that in such cases, it is not guaranteed that borrowers will be able to fully recover their assets or the full amount owed. So maybe they're kind of trying to compare, for whatever reason, trying to compare a smart contract, a fictitious smart contract in this case, because I'm not aware of any. But again, I haven't been looking. A fictitious smart contract, trying to compare that to a payday loan or pawnbroker business, or as they worded it, a conventional pawnbroker lending business. Now, under this particular, that's why I found this question very curious, and then to find out, maybe someone has made the argument that they should be regulated in the same way as for whatever reason, a pawnbroker conventional lending business, which I would disagree. Because as I said before, when you're dealing with cryptocurrency, you have other ways to track and trace everything if that's what you're concerned about, which, as everyone is trying to do the right thing. Yes, there might be people trying not to do the right thing, but that's not what this video is about. This video is about basically my response to this possible regulation that could be in the works, could be coming down the pipeline. And this is our chance as everyone in cryptocurrency to provide a response to the Australian Government Treasury Department, our thoughts on the matter and how we should proceed forward. Because I don't think a lot of these people actually know what it is that they're doing. Just as someone could look at my video right now and say, oh, this guy's not a lawyer, don't listen to him, he's useless, which is fair enough. This is my opinion, it's not legal advice, not financial advice. Now, yeah, so that being said, payday loans, if they go bankrupt, will be handled by the ASIC. And then, so moving on with this, I'm just concerned now with my response here. Let's have a look. just live on stream doing some rejigging. This is probably going to be a better response. I thought I'll do it live on stream while it's fresh in my mind. I'm not sure I need to repeat myself again and again and again, explaining regulations already exist and teaching, although I may do it for this particular question. This question here is not too bad. If AI freezes on me, then I will have to probably end this video here. Won't be long. Okay, so I think I have made a better response. Now, what are the key risks? What are the key risk differences between smart contract and conventional pawnbroker lending? Now, here we have a bit of a better response. Now, whether or not I can make it better, we shall find out. Basically, in Australia, if a conventional pawnbroker business goes bankrupt, the process of getting your collateral back would depend on specific circumstances and the rules and regulations in place at the time of the bankruptcy. According to the Australian Securities and Investment Commission, ASIC, consumers may be able to get some of their money back from the National Guarantee Fund, NGF, if the lender was a member of the NGF and the loan was covered by the NGF. However, this may not always be the case, and it is always best to research and choose a reputable conventional pawnbroker lending business to reduce the risk of losing your collateral in the event of bankruptcy. That's probably what I was trying to say. Now, regarding smart contract applications, understanding well-written immutable code is crucial to reducing the risk of loss in the event of bankruptcy or any other issue. It is important to note that smart contracts are self-executing and rely on the underlying code to determine the outcome of a transaction. So it is essential to thoroughly research and understand the code before engaging with a smart contract application. Now, that is the key risk. All right, cool. Yep, that is the key risk. Now, is this relevant and on topic? Now, let's have a look. It seems to be okay. All right, seems to be okay. Now, so that's a pretty decent response for this one. So if we go over to question 13. Question 13, section B, is there quantifiable data on the consumer outcomes in conventional pawnbroker lending compared with these outcomes for analogous services provided through smart contract applications? So I scratch my head going, what is this trying to ask me? So here is my response for this one. Basically, it will be, thank you for tuning in. I was worried this stream wasn't actually going live because I did a bit of a weird entry into this one. I did a double click and it actually, yeah, I'm not sure if it came through with two streams or one, so I'm going to find out. With this here, with this particular question, I am actually going to reply as such or very close to, unless I learn some more information. There is quantifiable data available on the public blockchain for open networks, such as Ethereum, which can be accessed through a blockchain explorer like Etherscan. This data is important to evaluate transactions and assess the outcomes of smart contract applications. In Australia, conventional pawnbroker lending is regulated by ASIC under the National Credit Act, NCA, which is different to the National Guaranteed Fund, which I did not know that, and is associated, but it probably falls under there and allows it to exist, and its associated regulations, which aim to protect consumers from unfair practices in the lending market. Additional information specific to the pawn shop industry in Australia can be found on the IBIS World website. So that's the quantifiable data. That's what they're asking. That's what I said. I think that's very clear in terms of there is quantifiable data. If they say we can't see it, when in relation to smart contracts, it can be seen. For example, on Ethereum through a blockchain like Etherscan, assuming it's not hidden behind some interesting things that centralized exchanges could possibly do, because they, may not allow the on-chain data to be released. Now, the closing section is here. Basically, some smart contract applications assist users to connect to automated market makers. What are the key differences in risk using AMM and using the services of a crypto asset exchange? These ones are pretty easy. I'll make another video covering this one because I really want to cover this one, basically saying the differences between decentralized and centralized and quantifiable data, and I'll come up with some responses for that. So that's about it for this one. The other thing that we will look at is this, the conclusion. Now, I probably should share this one out. Although it is like Australia specific, so people may not care. They put a boomerang in there. Now, again, the conclusion of this paper, to summarize this paper, basically says as such. The paper describes key concepts needed to build a shared understanding of the crypto ecosystem, which I think they need to do strongly, especially with individuals. I have no idea, that probably got wrecked multiple times. I've been wrecked multiple times by myself. That's how I've come to this level of knowledge. Other people in the community may experience similar things. Now, the aim to assist industry regulators and consumers in navigating the crypto ecosystem and its interaction with financial service laws. The paper describes the concept of the functional perimeter, the broad functional definition of a financial product in the Corporations Act, which is intended to be technologically neutral, flexible, and innovation friendly. It also proposes a token mapping framework to assist in conceptualizing how products might fit within existing regulatory frameworks, maybe like the Corporations Act, which will be very interesting, whether or not it will stifle innovation or not. Now, the token mapping framework defines the concept of tokens, token systems, and functions a crypto token performs the record-keeping role. It is analogous to a physical token or an entity in a registry. A token system is the business or social protocol or mechanism. It is the steps taken to perform a function in relation to crypto tokens. A function is the product or benefit provided by a token system. So this regulation framework that they're developing, on top of existing regulations, I'm not sure is a wise idea, to be honest. I really think they're just going to stifle innovation, if not, in some cases, severely. And this could potentially sort of follow suit around the world. I hope it doesn't. I hope they realize that there's more than enough regulation in place. And to try and create a... Well, I said it in one of my responses. There's no point in going over again. But The paper then goes on to provide insights. Basically, it's the next steps is probably worth noting. The annexure basically goes over things that they are thinking of implementing. I'll cover the insights. Ecosystem is not a homogeneous industry sector. The crypto assets are not a homogeneous asset class. The process of assessing crypto-related products against the functional perimeter is no different than the process for assessing any other product. A large portion of the crypto ecosystem is intermediated token systems, which involve intermediaries using crypto assets and providing crypto asset services. Some of these token systems are clearly facilitating general financial functions. Others are clearly not. However, some regulatory reforms, in addition to licensing and custodial reforms, may be needed to ensure consumer protection and financial stability into the future. Now, they're interesting comments. It's basically saying there that the process is no different. So they're going to look at anything they come across and try and apply the Corporations Act because it's defined to be technologically neutral. Whilst they are admitting also that the cryptocurrency space evolves at a lightning pace. So like I said, I'm pretty sure they're going to stifle innovation at this point. Hopefully my feedback can help. Hopefully everyone can provide some sort of feedback if they choose to. Now, it says here, however, some reforms may be needed to ensure... It's good that they're focusing on consumer protection because people get scammed, but they need to teach people. They don't need to regulate more everything that's currently regulated. That doesn't seem logical, but governments do what they like to do and maybe spend more money, spend more time with things that maybe they shouldn't. Now, a separate portion of the crypto ecosphere exists to enable users who are unknown to each other to form transactional relationships in the absence of intermediaries or agents. These relationships may involve creation of financial or non-financial crypto assets that are fundamentally different to their intermediate counterparts. Accordingly, they may not fit within range of existing regulatory frameworks. Without reforms and new regulatory approaches, some crypto products in this category may be fundamentally incompatible with existing financial services regulatory framework. Okay, not sure if they're specifically talking about DeFi there, or what they're talking about, or even centralized exchanges that are like functioning in very weird ways that sort of make it difficult to see what they're actually doing. Again, teach people, differences about all this stuff, as I mentioned in my response. I hope that it all makes sense. Next steps. Here's the next steps. Feedback is sought on the consultation questions throughout the paper to inform policy development. A complete list of consultation questions can be found in Annexure 4. This paper is open for feedback until 3rd of March 2023, Australia dates. So I've got a fair bit of time. It was interesting when it was released because I had been doing some other stuff. I wouldn't even notice this existed, so it was good. I took some time off on it. Now, the government will propose a framework for custody and licensing for public comment in mid-2023. So they're talking about how it's difficult to put together a framework, and some things might not fall under the framework, some things may. And then it says basically they're putting forward a framework proposal, and then also again will be for public comment in mid-2023. The feedback to the token mapping paper will be used to shape the development of these regimes. So hopefully less is more. Hopefully, we'll see what happens. But something's coming. Not sure what it is. Now, this one, I'm not going to go over this. I'll put the link in the bottom. You can check it out if you want. Some news articles have covered it, but again, I'd like to cover it myself. It basically goes over property rights. They reference the High Court. So property, things like this. They show the framework which they're proposing, and then they go on to show contractual rights in simple terms, like less than how many words are used. They mentioned financial service regulation, financial service regulatory framework, like various acts. What else? General definition of a financial product, financial perimeter. So this is financial product definition as per the Corporations Act. Maybe they're trying to be able to define things in a certain way if it meets certain criteria as a certain definition under the Corporations Act, which will be interesting because like I read somewhere that it's going to cement the cryptocurrency space. It's going to cement the cryptocurrency world because it'll be regulated. And I'm thinking you're probably just going to kill off cryptocurrency in the way that everyone knows it at the moment. That's most likely what's going to happen, and the government's going to cheer that they've done that. So, well done, government, if that's your intention, because I hope it's not, because they are providing the ability to provide feedback. And this is not a dig at any political party or anything like that. This is just simply put, in most cases regarding cryptocurrency, the people who have been watching it for a long time probably understand the simple fundamentals better than those who have just come onto the scene and are trying to apply, as they've said, regulations which may not fit the space. So you're trying to solve a problem for one thing, which is a square thing, and you're taking an approach which is a triangle. Well done. Well done. Now, specific inclusions to financial product definition goes on to explain management investment schemes. It goes on to explain derivatives, Australian crypto asset regulation. This is worth, I think I covered this earlier on. Basically, while this paper primarily focuses on a financial service framework, there are several frameworks with different regulatory objectives that apply to crypto assets in Australia. The following table provides a non-exhaustive overview of the key frameworks. So I guess this is the most simple way to do this. They showed regulator ASIC, relevant legislation, Corporations Act, ASIC Act, regulator ACCC, relevant legislation, Australian consumer law. So they have considered it because it has been worded as, if the crypto asset is a financial product, it will be subject to certain obligations and requirements under the Corporations Act and ASIC Act. This includes prohibitions on misleading and deceptive conduct or unconstitutional conduct, hawking or pressure selling required to do as to disclose about features, characteristics of the financial product before sale, design and distribution obligations and requirements for those financial products traded on financial markets. For crypto tokens, these are not financial products that are not financial products. The provisions of the Australian consumer law could potentially apply, including prohibitions against misleading and deceptive conduct. Like, I'm not sure how people are going to be doing that. Like, I guess my frustration here is like FTX. It's like, maybe you should have stopped FTX from happening, but how could you have known that it was they're going to commit fraud? Because they were following all the laws and regulations. So you're going to make another law and regulation to stop more FTXs from happening. Interesting logic. Now, businesses may engage in conduct that involve a combination of financial and non-financial products or services to address potential overlap. 2018, the ACCC delegated powers to ASIC to undertake the Australian consumer law in relation to crypto tokens. Okay. Now, again, not relevant aware of any of this stuff. We've got here AUSTRAC, regulator AUSTRAC, relevant legislation, AML, CTF Act, and regulator ATO, relevant legislation, Income Tax Act, Goods and Services Tax Act. Now, AUSTRAC. Digital currency exchanges are regulated by AUSTRAC under the Anti-Money Laundering, Counter-Terrorism Financing, AML, CTF Act for the purposes of preventing and detecting money laundering and terrorism financing. Digital currency exchanges must register with AUSTRAC and meet AML, CTF compliance and reporting obligations, including know your customer requirements. So this is already a thing. Regulator ATO, relevant legislation, Income Tax, Goods and Services Tax Act, investors in crypto tokens and other market participants are subject to laws if an entity is carrying on a business in relation to digital currency or as part of the existing business, or if any of the are accepting digital currency as payment in business, the entity needs to consider any GST consequences that may arise. So standard. Tax implications for investors flow from underlying nature of the rights and obligations attached to the asset and the personal circumstances of the investor. Crypto tokens will generally be capital assets, meaning there could be capital gains tax consequences. Simply put, cited again, in a simple way, because everyone's different, everyone has different setups, whatever. But as I said, I'd like to add to this that there's quantifiable data on the public blockchain for open networks such as Ethereum, which can be accessed through a blockchain explorer like Etherscan. And I also said that the data recorded on the public blockchain is publicly accessible and transparent, adding a level of accountability. Adding additional regulation may stifle innovation and distract from competitive advantages of the crypto system. Now, maybe these people don't care about this. Maybe. Extra 2, public crypto networks. Now, this goes on to explain. I guess they've broken it down into what they're planning on doing, what the basic knowledge is around the regulation on cryptocurrency, the way that they've presented it. And now they're saying this is public crypto networks, an overview of public crypto networks. So people who don't understand all this stuff, which I'm pretty sure most people in cryptocurrency who actually know what they're doing probably understand 90% of this, I would say. People that bought crypto on exchanges and lost it all because the exchange went bust, maybe they don't understand this. Maybe they should have. As the saying goes, if I don't understand, I'm not going to invest in it. So, dude, that's why you try and understand it. It's like, well, what the Can you stop? What is that? Something's going nuts in the background. I don't know what that was. Hang on. So, anyway. It says public crypto networks, overview of public crypto networks, digital signatures, address, private key, simple stuff, data processing, shared database, forks, consensus and incentives, consensus node, fee market, and smart contracts, overview of smart contracts. Goes on to explain some more teaching. Smart contract on crypto networks and smart contract protocols, immutability and upgradability, protocol guardians, DAOs, coordination protocols, DAOs, participatory DAOs, investment DAOs, interoperability protocols, token standards, NFTs, economic protocols, AMM protocols, lending and borrowing protocols, okay. Collateralized debt position protocols. And revenue generating protocols, smart contract applications. It goes on to show a brief image. But yeah. A lot of this stuff people should already know. And as I said, everything is on chain, providing accountability. There is, ways to identify quantifiable data because it's available on the blockchain for open networks such as Ethereum, which can be accessed through a blockchain explorer. And when data is recorded on the blockchain, it's publicly accessible and transparent, adding a level of accountability. Existing regulations such as OzTrack, AML/CTF Act, ATO Income Act, and Goods and Services Tax Act already exist. And centralized exchanges, well, they need to get their shit together. Because if everything's not on chain, how do I know what they're even doing? Alright, that's it. Signing out. Thank you for anyone who did view this one. There's also a glossary. I'll come back tomorrow, I reckon, and finish up with those last couple of questions. I'll also, when I have a final response put together, I'll basically chuck it on a web page, and an open web page, anyone can view and copy paste or maybe not copy paste, maybe they can get some brief ideas, maybe they run it through AI, and I'm not sure if it's going to be hold more weight if a lot of people do the same thing, you know, like a mass overwhelming amount of responses. But then if it's all the same thing, I'm not sure it will hold the same weight if everyone takes the time, put some effort in, and, you know, write a response for themselves. So maybe the copy paste gets available, I don't know. But yeah. All right, thank you everyone. Signing out.